may specific warning signs ba pagka perimenopause? O tinitin lang natin age lang to? Siguro signs of perimenopause lang.
Actually, madami, di ba? But like we said, perimenopause is supposed to be a normal process that happens in women. But the first thing siguro that they would notice, sometimes yung very regular na menses nila would either shorten or most of the time, pumupunta sila for consult kasi humahaba yung menses or sumusobrang dami naman yung blood na lumalabas. That's one. And then, the second one would be yung hot flashes. Hot flashes meaning to say kahit na nasa aircon sila o nagigising sila ng umaga, early in the morning, they would notice na they are perspiring already despite the fact na malamig yung room. Yeah. And then probably mood swings, that's one. And then the difficulty of sleeping at night, although that's kind of common even if you are not in the perimenopause. So yun, more or less. Those are the simple signs and symptoms na pwede nilang manotice habang papunta sila. When you say perimenopause, it's supposed to be when you reach 45 until 50 plus.
It's naalala ko, yun ang parang madalas na sinasabi natin during our early days no, ng ating social media. And perimenopause talaga is one topic na parang taboo to everybody. No? And it's good thing that because of this channel at itong platform na to, we were able really to educate more people about perimenopause. No? Now, kung merong early warning signs, meron bang test sa perimenopause?
Actually, you don't test. But pag ang isang babae, let's say, for example, late 40s na, yung menses kasi, sometimes it occurs every 3 months or maybe longer than that. But most of the time, you will be able to say na the patient is already in menopause pag 1 year na wala talaga siyang menses. For me kasi, di ba, the age is usually 45 to early 50s. So that's also the onset of your chronic diseases like hypertension and diabetes. So aside from screening, it's mandatory for them to have their mammogram and breast ultrasound and also pap smear.
We know that perimenopause is a natural process in women. Meron bang dapat iwasan o kainin para mas lesser yung symptoms nila?
It's not that proven, pero apparently there are substitutes to estrogen na pwede kainin, yung mga phytoestrogens like your tofu. And then since these female patients are supposed to be prone to the development of osteoporosis, dairy products is very good for them. And then since this is the time we're in, there's yung nagde-deposit yung fat sa belly area, so lifestyle change and moderate exercise lang, not naman yung very intense.
What if, for example, after menopause, meron pa din? Pwede pa bang effective yung mga phytoestrogens na yun?
Pwede pa din, but like I said, it depends because there are certain patients na malala yung mga presentation nila, yung hindi nila ma-tolerate yung mga signs and symptoms ng menopause. So that's the time you give the medical treatment. Pero kung kaya na i-tolerate, ako personally, I don't actually recommend the use of the replacement therapy.
So, kailan daw ba talaga dapat nagpapa-pap smear? At saka kailan ba magpapakuna? May sinasabi sila about bakuna for HPV.
Yung pap smear, ideally it starts pag sexually active na yung female patient. If it is normal, actually it is done every year. Pero kung may 3 normal pap smears ka na, pwede mo siyang every 3 years. The pap smear is a screening test, early screening test kasi for early cervical cancer. So if you get the cancer at an earlier stage, it is easier to manage. Yon. Tapos, yung sinasabing HPV vaccine, ideally, it's given from 9 to 14 years of age. Now, beyond that age, it depends whether it's really indicated na ibibigay mo siya sa pasyente or not. It is scheduled to be given for 3 doses. That is first dose, and then after 1 or 2 months yung second, and then the third one will be completed in 6 months.
Dapat talaga you seek consult pa din, no? Kung ikaw ay, talagang candidate for that vaccine, no? And then yung pap smear, basta sexually active. Naku, importante yun. So, needs, we talked about vaccine, we talked about pap smear, we talked about ways to prevent or even improve yung perimenopausal manifestations ng mga babae. What about bone health? Kasi isa rin yan sa mga issues. Pagka ikaw ay perimenopause, going into menopause, usually nagiging osteoporotic. Ano bang risk sa mga ganong edad?
Usually kasi, mataas na yung risks mo pag nag-menopause ka kasi wala ka ng estrogen. So, menopausal patients are supposed to be prone talaga to osteoporosis. So, pwedeng may bone densitometry. They can do that so that they will be able to detect kung osteoporotic ba yung bones na nila. And then, apparently, it's advisable also for them to be taking calcium and then yung mga dairy products because they are also rich in calcium. But if you have problems already of osteoporosis, I think you have to consult for you to be given the proper medication para lang more or less ma-prevent pa yung further complications ng osteoporosis. Ako may tanong kay Dr. Pe. Marami kasi akong patient na may dysmenorrhea pag nagme-mens, di ba? So, sobrang severe that they cannot work and then they take these NSAIDs chronically. When I say chronically, they take it every month. Usually before pa yung onset. That's what we usually advise naman eh. Before pa ng onset ng menses mo, kailangan mo nang uminom ng NSAIDs. Parang bad ba yun if they will be taking the medication every month? Kasi, di ba, 3 days, tapos onset pa lang, yan na, start na ng intake ng NSAIDs. At malalakas yung mga NSAIDs na ginagamit nila eh.
Based sa studies, the kidney effect of these NSAIDs. NSAIDs po ay mga pain relievers that we commonly see sa commercial, yung commonly na nabibiling pain relievers over the counter. So based on studies, yung effect niya sa kidneys are for those patients na chronically tinitake yun. Ibig sabihin araw-araw, take ng take nung pain relievers. Hindi naman yung paisa-isang take lang for 3 days, for 4 days, but yung mga patient na talagang inaraw-araw yung pain relievers. Basta wag siyang tuloy-tuloy. Okay? Pero sana kung talagang, like for example, your patient, nakikita mo na ganun na yung nagiging trend ng patient, na every month nagtitake na siya ng pain reliever ng mga NSAID, it's good then check mo na rin yung renal function niya. Tapos, kung meron namang alternative na ibang pain meds, then we opt to give those kinds of medication. Kasi, syempre, laging nasa huli ang pagsisisi. Pag nasira na yung kidneys, gawa ng mga pag-inom ng NSAIDs, ng gamot, hindi na natin yan mababawi. So, still, we advise our viewers, our patients to still consult with your doctor para alam nyo, mag-guide kayo ng doctor nyo kung ano yung tamang pain reliever na mabibigay sa inyo.